Do we go now to Mr. Ben Habib? I think we should. Ben, good evening to you, former Deputy Leader of Reform UK and still, of course, out there fighting for sense and sensibility.
It's a good film.
Good evening.
Hi.
Gorgeous to be on with you. Lovely gents on a Friday night.
We do notice you do put yourself about a bit, but this is the only show that really, you know,
matters.
Stands up to it. So my first thought, listen, Ben, and you might think I'm being a bit over the top, but is this country now committing treason? They've cut back... The government committing treason. They've cut back on our military expenditure in one of the most dangerous times we've been in for years. And they're giving money to countries that don't need it. I mean...
And letting in military-age men, no women, just men between 18 and 24 who hate the country, a lot of them.
I mean, it is extraordinary, isn't it, that at a time when our armed forces are a shadow of their former selves, on a day when they cut £500 million from the defence budget, they allowed Zelensky to fire British missiles into Russian territory. You couldn't make it up. And as you said, James, you know, we can't even stop dinghies crossing the channel. How the hell are we going to cope with Putin and
Russian missiles? How are we going to stop them?
But we could stop them. We could stop them if we would allow our forces to do what they should do, which is protect the shores.
In the channel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We could stop it like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it, that Tony Blair could go to war in Iraq, in Afghanistan. Cameron could go to war in Libya, in Syria. He could stir it all up. And we could do all of these things which resulted in so much death. And yet, we can't stop a dinghy in the channel. And we're prepared to go and poke the Russian bear. And we are absolutely poking the Russian bear. The idea... I mean, can you imagine, let's say we were stuck in a war and Russian missiles were being fired by France into the United Kingdom. Of course we'd hold Russia responsible. We wouldn't go, this is a French issue. We'd hold Russia responsible.
But, you know,
and we'd want to strike back.
You don't want to be on Russia's side, do you, Ben?
I'm not on Russia's side. I'm on the British people's side.
But, you know, if they take over Ukraine and they win that war, they're not going to stop there.
No. And nor should they be allowed to take it over.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between saying to Zelensky, listen, mate, we need to come to a settlement where we've given the Russian bear a bloody nose, they won't come any further, we pen them in and we hold them at bay, compared to, Mr. Zelensky, we'll give you whatever you want, any number of arms.
But this is about money, isn't it? I mean, apparently 37% of all the breadbasket of Europe is now owned by BlackRock and other of the military-industrial complex. If they get the Nato, they have to buy all NATO equipment again, the military. Isn't this all just to make money? And it's basically oligarchs fighting and then being a business in America. This is what is fueling this.
I think there is a lot of money involved. You know, wherever there's war, there's massive money, massive vested interests, and I don't want to impugn anyone's integrity. But, you know, you can imagine people are getting rich on the back of this. Why would they wish it to end?
Why are we... I realise we can't really stop it with social media and it's changed, but you mentioned this earlier, or somebody did. Why are we actually telling everybody that we don't have any armaments, we could defend ourselves for 2 weeks, we don't have enough military? Why do we keep putting this in the news so that people like Putin might say, oh, well, I could probably justify sending a couple of rockets into military area, hopefully military areas. Well, no, I hope it's not military areas. What am I saying?
They could actually invade us now, probably.
In the military.
The army could actually invade us, the Russian army, if they wanted.
We wouldn't be able to do anything.
No, I don't think we've got the capability to respond. And as you say, we keep sending out signals that we're weak. And, of course, we're not just doing it by the pronunciations of our politicians saying our armed forces, as I am. In a way, I'm adding to it because I'm saying our armed forces aren't up to it. But, you know, we left Afghanistan with our tails between our legs.
Our forces are the best trained in the world, I can assure you. But, the fact is we don't have enough.
That gave Putin the green light, leaving Afghanistan like that.
I think leaving Afghanistan, our inability, our Prime Minister's inability to identify, you know, that women don't have penises, for example. You know, our critical race theory.
Some don't.
You know, all this. He must look at us and think, this country really hasn't got a backbone. They can't stop rubber dinghies.
They're stupid. And this is the other thing that's really annoyed me today. Is apparently these yobbos, these criminals who break into this nation, I refuse to use the word migrant, they are criminals, And now they're saying they're gay, and if they say they're gay because they come from these religious countries where apparently that's
illegal,
frowned upon, they can't be sent back.
Gay and Christian.
They're all gay coming over here.
Gay, they become Christian, belt and braces.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's
and we agree with it. Why don't we just say, back, no more hotels, there's a camp, we put up tents, we'll keep you there till we can ship you back.
Yeah.
And
when Suella Braverman conceived the Illegal Migration Act, the first draft of it, the bill when it first came out, said the Secretary of State is obliged to detain and then deport anyone entering the United Kingdom illegally, which is precisely what you're saying, obliged to detain. When it became a law, it said is may detain and deport. And there's a world of difference between obliged to detain and deport and may detain and deport. Yeah. And what we must do is exactly as you say, James. We should have, big, secure facilities where these people can be held until they can be deported. They should not be intermingled in society.
Like we used to have.
Exactly.
This is what we used to have.
Exactly, because what is happening is we are losing, and apparently I don't believe in a multicultural society. Multiracial is absolutely fine, and we are a multiracial country and always have been. But we have our own society. If you come from a different sort of society,
values, it's the values.
Of course you can celebrate it on your own, but don't try and impose it. We've had it imposed by varying religions, from Judaism to Islam, even Christianity, and it has to stop. Can we put on the screen, by the way, criminal lies, not migrant lies? These people are not migrants.
They're irregular as well. They need to eat more fibre.
Yeah. But I couldn't agree with you more. We have to protect our culture. We have to protect that which brought us to the position of the great country that we are in so many respects. Yeah. And we will not do that by promoting ideologies, religions, cultures, which are antipathetic to our own.
And we have to protect our people as well. We get criminals who will rape and murder and then say, oh, no, we can't release him because of family.
But what about the Portuguese rapist it wasn't it? And a drug dealer, Portuguese drug dealer, and he cannot be sent back. We have to keep him here.
There's loads of
Portugal's quite a nice country.
Loads of stories like that.
So why are we keeping him here?
And we've got 10,000 of the 100,000 people incarcerated in prisons. 10,000 are foreigners. They each cost us. Back. Yeah, they cost us £50,000 per annum and rising. That's 500 million a year. That's massive.
But why? This is what I can't get. Last question. I'm going over it again and again, Ben, and I cannot get my head round it. We have bent over backwards giving free travel, money, accommodation, food to people who are breaking into this country with no papers, coming here totally illegally, and we are looking after them. I drove in here tonight, down Borough High Street, and there are two poor souls I spotted sleeping in sleeping bags in doorways in this freezing cold. Yeah. Now, what the frigging hell are we doing, and why don't any of these politicians seem to have a backbone?
Well, it's extraordinary. I mean, just going back to the farmers for a second, taking a page out of the book that you've just, been hinting at, we're imposing taxes on farmers, and yet we're spending £500 million a year on promoting farming in different countries. Did you read that today?
But it's not racist farming in other countries. That's probably what they'll say.
I know. It's extraordinary.
And by the way, 40 pensioners will die tonight, freezing in their houses, and that's according to Labour figures. So why are they all right with 40 people freezing to death?
Going very quickly, do you think this country has committed, this government has committed treason against the country for behaving in this way?
Well, I've said repeatedly that Starmer and his cabinet are basically anti-British. Everything that they do is detrimental to this country. And if you're anti-British, that is another way of saying, frankly, you're treasonous. They're not supporting this country in its interests. They're not promoting the British people.
He already said Davos rather than Westminster, didn't he? So.
Absolutely, he did. I mean, that doesn't make him a criminal, but it shows you where his mind is.
It sort of does.
Ben, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy your weekend. You look somewhere nice. I don't know, is that your house?
That's his house, yeah.
Is that your house?
Yeah, that's his front parlour.
Very nice indeed.